It was meant to be just another routine visit to the hospital for an MRI. For Adrienne Jones McAllister, the day started with the hope that her knee pain, which had been bothering her for months, would finally be diagnosed. Her husband, Keith McAllister, had been her rock throughout her struggles, offering unwavering support as she prepared for the test. But this trip would take a tragic turn, one that no one could have anticipated. Adrienne had no idea that, in a moment, she would lose the very person who had always been by her side. On a Wednesday afternoon, Adrienne and Keith arrived at Nassau Open MRI in Westbury, Long Island. Keith, ever the supportive husband, had accompanied his wife to the hospital for an MRI. Adrienne had been suffering from knee pain for several weeks, and this MRI was to determine the root cause. It was supposed to be just another appointment in the long journey to figuring out her diagnosis, with her husband by her side. Keith, calm and reassuring, walked into the MRI room with Adrienne. As she was being prepped for the scan, he stayed close, offering words of comfort and support. The MRI process was explained to them, and they were reassured that everything would go smoothly. There was nothing to indicate that the visit would end in a nightmare. As Adrienne settled onto the MRI table, Keith stood by her side, waiting for the procedure to finish. The technicians explained the process to both of them once again, ensuring that Adrienne was comfortable and still. Keith was just a few feet away, close enough to lend a hand should his wife need help. After the scan was completed, Adrienne, still feeling stiff from the procedure, asked the hospital staff to call her husband to help lift her off the MRI table. Keith walked toward her, unaware of the life-threatening danger that lay just ahead. It was at that moment that tragedy struck. Keith had worn a thick metal chain around his neck that day, something he had done routinely. But no one had informed him of the risks associated with wearing metal around the MRI machine, which uses extremely powerful magnets to create detailed images. When Keith moved closer to his wife, the MRI machine's magnetic field violently pulled the chain from around his neck. In an instant, the powerful force of the magnet yanked Keith toward the machine, dragging him in with terrifying speed. Adrienne's eyes widened in horror as she saw her husband being pulled into the MRI machine with no way to stop it. "I saw my husband walk toward the table, and then I saw the machine snatch him," she recalled later, her voice shaking with the trauma of that moment. Within seconds, the situation escalated into pure chaos. The MRI machine, designed to scan the body with the help of powerful magnets, was never meant to be a threat to anyone in the room. But Keith's metal chain created an uncontrollable situation. Hospital staff rushed to the MRI room, frantic to deactivate the machine and free Keith. Paramedics arrived on the scene immediately, but by the time they reached him, it was too late. Keith had suffered severe injuries, and despite their best efforts, they couldn't save him. He was pronounced dead shortly afterward. Adrienne, still in shock, was left standing in the room, helpless and horrified by what she had just witnessed. She had come to the hospital to support her husband, but now she was left alone, mourning the loss of the man she loved. Following the tragic incident, authorities immediately launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding Keith's death. Nassau County Police confirmed that Keith McAllister had been critically injured when he was pulled into the MRI machine by the metal chain around his neck. While MRI machines are designed to produce high-quality images, their powerful magnetic fields are dangerous when metal objects are near them. It was revealed that the hospital staff had not warned Keith or Adrienne about the risks of wearing metal around the MRI machine. While safety protocols often include ensuring that patients and visitors remove all metal items before entering the room, it appears that this crucial step had been overlooked. The hospital, in its initial statements, expressed deep regret over the incident. They pledged to cooperate fully with the investigation and to review their safety procedures to ensure such an incident would never happen again. The news of Keith McAllister's tragic death spread quickly across the country, sparking outrage and widespread grief. People were horrified by the preventable nature of the tragedy. How could something so routine, an MRI scan, turn into a fatal event? Many people, including medical professionals, expressed their disbelief at how the hospital could have missed such an important safety protocol. There needs to be more emphasis on ensuring that people entering MRI rooms are fully informed of the risks, especially about the magnetic fields, said one MRI technician in an online interview. This is a wake-up call for everyone in the industry. Social media erupted with messages of support for Adrienne and condemnation for the hospital's failure to protect Keith. Public demands for better safety protocols echoed throughout the medical community, with many advocating for stricter guidelines for MRI rooms and increased training for staff to avoid similar mistakes. In the wake of the tragedy, Adrienne and her family filed a lawsuit against Nassau Open MRI, seeking justice for Keith's death. The family alleged that the hospital was negligent in not ensuring that all metal objects were removed from the room before the procedure, and that their failure to warn Keith about the dangers of his chain contributed to the fatal accident. Adrienne, devastated but determined, spoke out publicly, urging the hospital and others in the medical community to take responsibility and implement stronger safety measures. "No one should lose their life this way," she said. "Keith was there to help me. He was just being a good husband, and now he's gone." This tragedy has ignited a larger conversation about the importance of safety in medical settings. Health professionals across the country are now re-evaluating their procedures and training, with a renewed focus on preventing accidents like the one that took Keith's life. Many hospitals are now implementing more stringent safety checks, ensuring that all patients and visitors are reminded of the risks associated with MRI scans and that metal objects are properly removed before entering the room. The public outcry following the incident has also led to calls for new regulations regarding MRI safety. Some experts have proposed more frequent safety drills for staff members to ensure they are prepared for emergencies and can respond quickly in dangerous situations. The story of Keith McAllister's tragic death is one that will stay with everyone involved for years to come. For Adrienne, the loss of her loving and supportive husband is a pain that words can hardly describe. She will never forget the moment she saw him pulled into the MRI machine, and the trauma of that moment will haunt her forever. But through her grief, Adrienne has become a voice for change, urging hospitals to put patient safety first. Her message is clear: no one should lose their life because of a preventable mistake. As the legal battles continue, the healthcare community will undoubtedly remember Keith McAllister's death as a stark reminder that safety must always be the top priority. This tragedy, while devastating, has sparked an important conversation about ensuring that no one else has to face the horror that Adrienne experienced that